Hey guys, Joe here from JCS-Charting. You probably noticed I have redesigned everything. There's a new name, a new logo, a new branding. There's also a website now on www.jcs-charting.com. You can sign up there and book one out of two packages. They are for educational purposes only. What you need for that is you need to sign up at Discord first, so you need to have an account there in order to follow me on my server. As I said, there are two packages, a basic one where I give you insights about the DAX, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, and there's also a tutorial section on chart pattern, and there's an advanced package where you get the same as a basic, but more insights. There are setups, there are live chat rooms where my members can exchange ideas and where I also try to help when I find time, of course. And there are different or much more channels like Bitcoin, like currencies, gold, other indexes like the Nikkei or the FTSE 100, and so on. So once you booked one of the packages, it looks something like that. You get into my site, and first of all, there's a explanation video about the server, what you need to go through in order to understand how this works. So this is what the advanced, for example, see. Here you see the various indexes, the Eurostock, the CAC, and so on. And I want you to hop into the gold channel. Yeah, here on gold, for example, it's an add-on channel, so I don't follow that as regular as a DAX or the US markets, for example, but still I gave you actually a nice setup there last week. This one here is from the 30th of June. I gave you right on time that inverted shoulder pattern, and we had quite early a sequence triggered right here, that green sequence. I use a lot for my setups, and usually after we trigger one of these sequences, there's a pullback, and before they actually run all the way up, and here you see we triggered that right here, and we went sideways for a couple of days, and then it actually fired all the way up. Here's also where the inverted shoulder pattern got triggered, and here, for example, we opened another sequence which got hit here right on the nose, and then it kind of oscillated between that 100% and that neckline. On the next one, you see there were two reconfirmations or retests on that slightly rising neckline of that inverted shoulder pattern, and then we triggered that sequence, and then we fired all the way up, and you see how accurate these work actually. After they fire, they go very precise with levels. They also can be used very nicely on rejections, and here's, for example, that whole pattern, the target zone for that pattern here, the blue one. We got right into that target box last week. I also mentioned that I will take most of my profits out there. And here is another 100% at 23.93, where we got the first rejection on Friday evening. Yeah, and here, for example, is my DAX channel. It's the H1 thread. I put each time frame into a different thread. A thread is like a sub channel of the main channel. So if you're not into the H1, or if you're not into the smaller time frames, you can just deselect those. So you just see, or you just get your notification on your phone if I make an update in that certain time frame. So here is, for example, what I wrote on Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I said DAX is topping at the 138 right now. If it breaks that level, the green zone should be filled. Here's the green zone, and 18,465 is the next magnet. This is this area here for a new sequence, which is also the high from last Monday. By the way, the subcycle made the 300 points from the low already. Need to explain what happened is we broke through that red 100%, and we had a subcycle low due on Tuesday afternoon. They gave my members the hint that there shouldn't be a turnaround before not hitting before not getting down to the 127 and 138, and it went right in between, and then it turned around and we made our 300 points there, because a sub-cycle low usually results in a 200 points to 300 points rally as a minimum. And here's, for example, the green zone broke. So this level here is our next magnet. See what happened in the evening, or that was actually on Thursday. The US markets were closed. We were hitting that level on the dot, on the nose, and we were hanging there pretty much all day long. Here's where I mentioned it's a good opportunity to short this level as a scalp, but once it breaks, this one up here is the next magnet. And we scroll down and you see here where it broke. And then we basically were hitting that 18,132, our next magnet level on the dot. Here's a better zoom in. There was, after the news release at 2:30 German time, there was that little spike up on, I think, the job jolts or whatever it was. There were some US data coming out before they were selling off rapidly on Friday evening. Yeah, and the last channel I want to show you is the NASDAQ. It's our H4 thread. I came up with that symmetrical triangle that was on the 1st of July. I thought there's a third touch missing here in order to trigger the triangle. Usually these triangles are used in a trend to consolidate, to continue the trend. And usually there's, after making the third touch, a pullback before it continues to fire into the direction of the trend. Here I give a bit more details with my sequences, so you get a better understanding where we are heading to. And here is where we made that touch, that third touch, so that triangle is triggered, and it kept failing at that blue 100%, by the way, but it triggered that green 100%. And as you can see, I was expecting that pullback, and I made it a bit more clearer right here that I expected to pull back into the green zone before it actually kept pushing up. That pullback never occurred, so you can see I'm not always right. So I never really got into there. And NASDAQ fired that sequence here straight away. Basically just after opening on Wednesday, and it pumped all the way up here into the US holiday, and then on July 4th, so that's the futures here, by the way, it consolidated on the public holiday, and on Friday it just continued pumping just after opening. And this is what happened on Friday. We hit our first target of the triangle, the red one, and we were also completing all sequences. There's one open target of the triangle missing up here at 26.29, but I told my members to watch this level here at 23.66. That might be important, and there has to be a solid H4 close above that level. Otherwise, we could run all the way up here, but the bulls need an H4 close above that zone here, just to make that clear. So here's my last channel about Bitcoin. You see here a daily chart, a so-called descending broadening wedge, which got triggered right here. But I told my members, I kept telling them over weeks, we need to break through that red resistance zone, or we need, which is much more important, a daily close above that green 100%, 71, 140. It never happened. We had 6 rejections there, 6. And usually these pullbacks are normal after making that third touch, but the 6th rejection here, it actually result in a bigger sell-off down to that low over here. And then what I usually do is I open the time frames. This one here is the H1 time frame. There was a very nice bounce at the 57.074, and I mentioned once that level breaks, that sequence is triggered, and this is our min target area, and we could run all the way down to 52.85, and if you ask me, we haven't seen the low yet. This is what happened. That was my last update on Friday. We were hitting our min target zone. We almost hit the bonus level at 52.850. But there is a bounce now on this weekend, but I don't think that's... I'm jumping back to gold. This is my live charting tool here on gold, the H1 time frame. You see here that inverted shoulder, head shoulder pattern I was showing earlier on my channel. And I want you to focus on 23.93 next week. We had a very clean hit there last week on Friday, and this is our next trigger level for higher. So keep an eye on 23.93 for next week. And the DAX, last but not least, in H1 time frame from JFD. I just wanted to show you that we bounced on Friday evening of that green zone, and I want you to keep an eye on that. Once we dive back into there, we see most likely 18,268, and there should be another bounce. But once that level breaks on the hour, we see lower again. To the upside for the bulls, once we clear that blue zone on the hour, this one here is our next magnet. It's actually much higher. This is actually around 18,880. This should be taken into account if we break through that resistance zone. Okay guys, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed my little review and the introduction of my new project. In case you want to sign up, I put in the description below the link of my website in case you want to sign up. Most of my members are happy. They're very supportive. Thanks guys, yeah, for all these kind words you were giving me over the last weeks. And yeah, I hope you have a nice remaining Sunday evening. I see you guys tomorrow morning in the blog, and I wish you all a nice evening. Thank you and bye bye.